Hey guys, it's Hunter. Welcome back to another episode of Agufish. Again, my bad, it's been a little while since the last one, but just a couple of quick updates. If you've missed any of the recent uploads between this and the last episode, we've checked out the holy grail of Les Pauls. It's not a Gibson. 10 amazing riffs that changed my life. One of the most popular cheap single cuts on Amazon, and the 2021 gear collection. 45 minutes of guitars and amps. A lot of single cuts. Make sure you've got some popcorn ready before you start that one. If you missed any of those, you can check them out after this video. The links will be in the cards and the description. Speaking of gear though, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. As of filming, we're only about 100-ish subscribers from 100K, and for 100,000, I've been partnering up with some of my favorite brands to give some gear away. Europeans included this time, for some of it at least. I need to double check. Point is, I really appreciate you guys being here, so make sure you're subscribed. That way I can potentially give you some free. Okay, and last thing, just a reminder, you should be a part of our Discord server. Gives you the best chance for your question to be answered in these Agufish episodes. And yeah, let's get into them. What trendy guitar features do you have a pet peeve for? Oh, that's easy. It's the super flat fingerboards on all these modern metal guitars. Can't stand that. Give me round fingerboards or give me death. No, I mean, like, the 12-inch Gibson standard radius is perfect. Too round, you can't get the action very low before bends start to fret out. Too flat, it starts to feel very uncomfortable to me. It's like playing a fingerboard made out of a straight 2x4. And there are such cool guitars. Every Jericho, for example, they're beautiful, beautiful instruments. But because they're quote-unquote modern, they come with this ridiculous 17-inch radius fingerboard. I really liked mine. I had an Edge 6 neck through. The specs were good. Loved how gorgeous it was. That neck through construction with walnut wings, so classy. But did not like the flat fingerboard at all. Sold it. Really don't miss it. And it's not just Jericho, it's a lot of the contemporary brands. Mayonnaise, for example, they make some beautiful guitars. The Cetius Gothics or the Regia series are incredible looking guitars. But when I tried them at NAMM, immediately did not care for those fingerboards at all. And fingerboard radius isn't something that everybody cares about. In fact, I know a lot of guitarists that couldn't physically care less about it, but personally, flat fingerboards are a bit of a deal breaker. So it's a little annoying that modern guitars are expected to come with 16-inch or above fingerboard radii. Guess I'll just be buying more vintage Gibsons then, tune those to drop B instead. But that's just me. What trendy guitar features are you just not about? To be honest, I love them, but I'm fully expecting to see a lot of Fishman Fluence mentions in there. A lot of people seem to be scared of the future. I don't know. But have you seen it though? Here we go again. Have you seen the new sOlAr technically single cut? Thank you to everyone who made sure I was very aware of this model's existence and that I had seen it. So we're finally getting a sOlAr T-shape, and I was actually talking about it with Jordan earlier. He thinks it's kind of odd, like the cutaway is very aggressive. I love it. What we agreed on though is we both really want it. So in typical sOlAr fashion, even though the T is arguably the most traditional dad guitar shape, Ola's metalified the f*** out of it. Pointy ass lower horn, pointy ass reverse headstock. What I love about sOlAr is their branding and identity is so strong. Love it. This is inspired by something traditional, but it knows what it is. It's a metal guitar. I think this might actually be my favorite sOlAr shape so far. I think I like it even more than the previous sOlAr single cut, the LP inspired one. Have you seen it? There's something about metal tellies, and this is one of the coolest ever. The rustic aesthetic, dark natural wood, aged finish, distressed nickel hardware. It's like a modern metal barncaster. Love how they've even kept a pickguard and aged that too. It's so cool. Alder body with modern bevels for comfort, ebony fingerboard, maple neck with that sOlAr neck joint I'm a huge fan of. Gibson, Fender, take note, that's how you do it. And it's a 1 series, so it's got all those premium specs, stainless steel frets, lumen lays, locking tuners. That distressed nickel Evertune too looks so dope. sOlar's done other guitars with the same distressed, rustic aesthetic. They all look cool, especially the 7-string single cut. This is the coolest one though. You guys ask a lot, when's the next time we're gonna see some new sOlAr on the channel? I mean, I really like this one. And I've gotten enough tags and questions and DMs about the new sOlAr single cut. I'll hit Ola up, see if he wants to do something if they aren't completely sold out already. Wouldn't be surprised at all if they're all gone by the time this video goes up. But yeah, what do you think of the new sOlAR T? It's always difficult to take a shape that's so familiar, put a signature spin on it, and still make it look really good. but that's exactly what the sOlAr T is. Better than the Ibanez AZS. Well done, sOlAr guitars. Why were you thinking about giving up on the channel? Regardless, I'm really glad you didn't. Thanks, man, I really appreciate that. But I mentioned this in the gear collection video. I had a conversation with Rob Chapman at my first NAMM. Had only maybe a couple thousand subscribers at the time, and he basically already knew me from the internet, which blew my mind, right? Like, he's the OG gear YouTuber person, and he told me to keep going. That was really what I needed to hear from one of the people that I needed to really hear it from. So obviously I kept going, but the reason I was thinking of giving up, well, I mean, basically the same reason why anyone gives anything up. You put a lot of time and effort into something, and if it doesn't feel like you're making progress, that's really discouraging. Especially the video style I like to do. It takes a lot of time with the full produced demo track, shooting the B-roll, figuring out what I want to say in the final thoughts section, so it's not a complete rambling mess. Like, I try to only make videos that I would want to watch myself. All killer, no filler, or at least as much as possible. Maybe I'm just bad at making videos, but it takes a lot of time. And especially with how often the YouTube algorithm wants you to upload, the constant heavy workload can be pretty relentless. And it can be very discouraging, even now when you work real hard on something and no one gives a and gets no views. Kinda how I feel every time I do an amp demo, to be honest. Love doing them, no one watches it. Please watch my amp videos. Serial421 asks, why do you censor some of your spicy words but not others? Is there some arbitrary Scoville limit on YouTube to keep your monetization? Yeah, nah, I wish I had that formula down to a science. Really, it's just my ADD ass is so bad at going over my own edits. Honestly, that's it. It's poor workmanship. When Jordan edits, he gets them all, so that's how you can tell who edits what videos. Evelyn Thrash Queen asks, I know you don't do a lot of amps, but have you heard the new Friedman Mini BE? It's a $330 solid state Friedman with an effects loop, and it sounds damn good. Yeah, I mean, as you alluded to, I don't do many amp demos, going back to what I said about getting discouraged. Listen, if you want amp demos, I'm down. I love that stuff, and I badly need you guys to watch them. The Friedman Mini BE does look sweet, though. Like the Friedman BE 100 Deluxe, the big boy brown eye, that is a dream amp. Pretty funny, it doesn't work there anymore, but when I was talking to my H&K rep about getting the Triumph Mark III, which is my dream amp, he was saying that the Friedman was his. It's an absolute fire breather of a modded Marshall, and Friedman, being a high-end boutique brand, it's also quite expensive. And yes, I realize there are a couple of expensive amps back there, but that does not make the $4,000 Friedman any cheaper. However, good news, everyone. Friedman have made an affordable BE amp in a small package, and it costs 300 bucks. Perfect. So what's the catch? So it is fully solid state. Not one of those hybrids, no tube preamp section combined with a solid state power section. Preamp, power amp, it's all solid state. All right, now hold the booze for a second. From the description, it's a 30-watt amp with the BE preamp circuit. So maybe it's like their BE OD pedal, which I've never tried but only hear great things about, made into full amp form. This way you don't need to pair it with an external power amp or anything to push a cab. Single channel, very simple controls, volume, gain, 3-band EQ, presence, and a couple of voicing toggles in cut and tight. You're definitely not going to get bogged down with option paralysis with the BE Mini. Realistically, I don't know how much volume 30 watts of solid state power is going to provide. Like, if the tone gets you into that Friedman BE ballpark, this seems more of like a nice practice or recording amp rather than like a full gigging amp at full band volumes. And remember, solid state amps being introduced nowadays are not the solid state amps of old. Take the Boss Katana, for example. Great solid state head, metric ass load of features. And I mean, in terms of tone, it's not a replacement for a proper tube head yet, but at 350 bucks, it sounds pretty good, pretty natural, especially on cleans, and then you can add all your effects. The Hughes & Kettner Spirit Nano series are great too, with their bionic tone generator chip or whatever they're calling it. These obviously have more of that Hughes & Kettner modern high fidelity sound going on, so I'd love to see how much of that aggressive, hot-rodded British sound Friedman have managed to squeeze into such a small, relatively affordable package. And see how it compares to the H&Ks, because it's in that same kind of vein, same product category and use case. Same price too. I think the Nano Spirits are a little cheaper at 250-ish. They've got DI out for silent recording as well. From the videos I've seen of the BE Mini so far, there's a little bit of fizz, but overall, pretty good for the cash. Definitely intriguing. Unfortunately, if you haven't heard the news, last week the building that houses the boutique amp distribution factory caught fire in the night. Boutique Amp Distribution handles Friedman, Soldano, Diesel, Synergy, a bunch of great brands. Thankfully, no one was injured. The main fire damage wasn't in their area, but the entire warehouse was flooded to put out the fire. I mean, from my work with Harley Benton, I know firsthand how insane the demand for guitar gear has been over the last year and how wrecked supply chain is. So already that's a tough situation. And then you add something like that, that really sucks. And a much less important aspect, it also means I don't think a demo is even a remote possibility right now. Also been loving the Neural DSP SLO 100 plugin, been dying to check out the real deal. Also probably not happening anytime soon, but sending my best to everyone at Boutique Amp Distribution. Hope everything ends up working out, because I can't even imagine. In the meantime, there are some BE Minis out there in the wild. If you've played one, what did you think? Or even if you haven't played one, has solid state technology progressed enough that this product from a company that traditionally has been pure tube-based has you interested? Any and all thoughts, I would love to know what you're thinking down below. Before we get into the next question, I want to give a huge shout out to Dave Zimmerman and the rest of the amazing patrons that support the channel and make all the honest reviews possible. You guys are so awesome. If you want to support the channel as well, Patreon and merch are the best ways. Links to those in the description. No pressure, it's just if you want to. Really just appreciate you guys being here to talk gear. And now into the next question. Pete Cottrell with a special question. Hunter, new Kirk 2022 SiGs? Pete's great. We're both huge Metallica fans, and it looks like Kirk maybe might have some new signature models on the way. Obviously, the KH3 got a reissue earlier in the year. We covered that on the channel. It's really cool. Metallica, SiNgLeCuT, scallop frets. That last part especially. Hopefully we start seeing more scalloped frets from LTD on affordable import guitars. I digress. The point is, in addition to the reissue of the legendary Spider, from a recent Instagram post, looks like Kirk might be getting a new model to test on the road later this year. And Metallica is known for road testing new signatures before they hit production, so there's a pretty decent chance we'll see these at Sweetwater or Thomann in the future. So the new ones in question are ESP USA V2s. They look suspiciously Jackson Rhodes inspired. Even the inlays are modified Jackson shark fins. It's pretty shameless. Obviously, these are gonna have Kirk's EMG bone breakers. Gold signature covers for the first time. Those look cool. It's interesting. Usually, Kirk and James work closely with the ESP Original and LTD brands. I don't remember them doing much with ESP USA, surprisingly. If that sounds confusing, it's because it is a bit. Quick breakdown, ESP Original are the premium models made in Japan. ESP USA are the premium models made in the US, obviously. They're completely separate brands, run fairly independently. They share a lot of the same shapes, but there are spec differences. All the ESP USA models come with stainless steel frets. For example, ESP Original uses very high quality nickel silver. ESP Original comes with Godot tuners, ESP USA uses Spurzl, and these could end up being the very first ESP USA signature models, seeing as how his initials are on the headstock. That'd be cool. Just hope in that case there'd be LTD versions too, seeing as ESP USA is not very kind on the wallet. And Kirk's actually been known to play a Jackson Rhodes on tour from time to time, so I'm kind of surprised it's taken so long for him to get an ESP version. He's done a Gibson custom shop Flying V, the KH1 was a Flying V with a single humbucker, but he's never had a pointy Jackson-style V done for him before. You know, I'm not a big pointy guitar person, but I am a big Metallica person. If there's an LTD, sure, I'm down. You'll never find me complaining about more Metallica-themed stuff in the world. This is where I'll throw it to you, though. What do you think? Love the design? Hate the design? Any and all thoughts? Leave them down below. Actually, update. Should have done my research. It looks like Kirk actually got the gold one, at least, back in October of 2019. So neither of these might be new. I'm not sure. I haven't seen them in recent live videos. So he could be hinting at something by specifically pointing these out. Or maybe we're just reading too far into it. Question still stands, though. What do you think of these? Personally, I'd love to see the Wavecaster get a proper production run first, but again, more Metallica, more good. Yeah, what are your thoughts? Quinn asks, what is your least favorite guitar to come out this year? Yeah, I mean, Discord already knows. When it comes to specs, I don't necessarily hate anything. Like when a guitar gets released and the specs aren't to my preference, like the fingerboard's too flat or something, I still believe that there's a use for it, and diversity is good. We don't want all the guitars to be the same. And like in this day and age, when we've got CNC machines and there's such a high consumer standard for even affordable guitars, I mean, look at Harley Benton. It's very rare to get a guitar that is truly awful. But man, that Glary, what a piece of in every conceivable way. Magpie Racer asks, what do you use to track your bass and drums in the produced mixes? Right, so I can't play drums and I can't be bothered with bass. What happens is after I write the riffs and have a rough idea of the demo track structure, I draw the MIDI in Logic's piano roll and use plugins for the sounds. For bass, we're using the Loki Bass 2 by Solemn Tones, sampled with a Dingwall NG2. It's so friggin' chonky, I love it. Then I use Easy Drummer 2 for writing, and by writing I mean air drumming like an idiot in front of my computer and translating that to MIDI. Then when I send the drum MIDI to Luke, he's using the Get Good Drums Matt Halpern pack, which he actually does not recommend because they're completely raw samples. He adds his own secret saucy juice. Listen, his words, not mine. So the samples sound great and natural once he's done with them. Like the kick and the snare have a few pairs on them. But that's why you get a mix engineer that knows what they're doing. Or just hire Luke for your next project. Honestly, he's been great to work with. He makes the demo track sound awesome. His contact details are down below if you want him to add his secret saucy juice and make your next project sound epic. Now, of course, it's time to hear from yet another adoring fan. It's the high praise of the week. Ugh, the stupid Yank slang. Sick! What are you talking about, idiot? Super, not Jaguar, it's Jag-U-R, you idiot. Learn to speak English, you idiot. Knob! I have very little doubt Rachel is actually Dave from Burnley. Or it's just Pete Cottrell trolling. Now, what do you think EDL Rachel thinks of this? It's a limited edition aluminum Jaguar. Pretty sick. Moving on to more positive things, the music recommendation of the week is the new Attack Attack single. It's called Brachyura Bombshell. I love how they're just leaning into that meme. Brachyura is the scientific name for a crab. Crabcore is back. It's not exactly a brand new release. The single dropped like over a month ago. I've definitely been sleeping on them though. I wasn't into the crabcore stuff at all, even when they were big. Now they're back and the singles are actually pretty good. Chonky guitars, dance party vibes, catchy choruses. Doesn't sound like the Attack Attack I remember. It's like they've gotten a firmware update. It's like all the elements that made Attack Attack have been updated and given a modern edge, which is a good thing. It's actually very enjoyable. Very pleasant surprise. That'll do it for this week's episode of Askfish. Leave your thoughts on anything discussed in the comments. All hail the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe, notification bell. Remember, we're giving stuff away. Let me give you social media, merch, and Discord server links are in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. You've been awesome, and I'll see you for the next video. Hopefully, the next Askfish won't be a month from now.